for your wall hinge, what you're gonna do is you're gonna find a wall, and then you're gonna get about a foot away from the wall. So just take a little bit of a step out. What we're gonna do here is find your optimal hip hinge. So we're gonna be hinging to the wall like I just did. But what I want you to do, I'm not too far away from the wall, so start close to start out. Not too far away from the wall, but we're gonna adjust our distance as we go. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna put your feet hip width apart, toes are pointed forward. You can think about spreading the floor in this position. There's an option to think about spreading the floor with your feet to turn on that outer muscle engagement. And then from here, you're gonna poke your hips back with your fingertips. Pretend someone's got a rope around your hips and they're pulling you back. Boom, to hit the wall, and then come up, okay? This isn't going to work if you squat. So if I squat, I'm not gonna get to the wall as soon. I want you to think, what is the closest distance, or how fast can I get my hips to touch the wall? The faster you try to get them there, I'm not talking like smacking fast, I'm talking about what's the shortest amount of distance and time that I have to travel to get to the wall, and that means your hips will stay high. If I start squatting and dropping my hips, it's gonna take me forever, so I just want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. You want minimal knee bend, soft knees, but not bent knees over your toes, okay? So that was super easy for me. I'm gonna walk out just a little bit here, still keeping my feet width and distance, and now I've just added maybe a centimeter onto that. Go very slow, make really small increments. Fingers, hips, I get the wall there, cool. I can feel my hamstrings when I hinge. That's how I know I'm not squatting, okay? So finding the hamstrings and quickest distance. That was like pretty close, but I'm gonna go a little bit further out. So I want you to find what your maximum distance is away from the wall, and fingers, hips, slight bend in the knees, but I'm not coming over the toes. That might be a little bit too far. Oh, okay, I catch it at the end there, all right? So what I'm gonna do, it feels like a little bit too far for me, but a little bit too much of a challenge. So I'm going to back my feet up a millimeter, very, very tiny. So again, hips, fingers, soft knees, finding the hamstrings, trying to get to the door, boom. That seems about perfect. My feet almost want to come off, but they don't. This is your wall hinge distance. So now you're gonna do your sets from this position. You can re-find it every time you do it. You'll be more familiar with it every time you do it. It won't take quite as big of a process, but doing the same thing, you can keep using your fingers as long as you need to in the hip creases as well. There's no shame in that. You can also go without. Maybe putting the hands across your chest to keep the upper body in control. And we can also practice our breathing here. So, you know, ripping, option to think about ripping the floor, option to have the hands at the chest, option to also start to incorporate some of the breathing. So it's breathe in at the top, hold, and exhale up. Okay, all of those extra cues are options. All I want you to do is find your best distance from the door where you can get your hip hinge. It feels challenging but good, and you can also find your hamstrings. Some of you, if you have longer limbs, you're gonna have to widen up your stance just a little bit. Widen and go. Trying to find the best hamstring recruitment that you can, and you can modify your footing to do so. Happy hinging.